Hello everyone once again here at a sunny Spa-Francorchamps as we are ready for qualifying for round 9, the Belgian Grand Prix in season 5 of the Talent Factory League. Last time out we were at the Baku City Circuit and now back to Europe for this Belgian Grand Prix as I think a Ferrari, yes it's a Ferrari, the Ferrari of Ball I think is now coming out of the pit lane. Yagizan in the Ferrari, number 13 Ferrari, out of the pit lane. And as we are getting ready for this new round, let's look at the championship standings. And we have to download them from the internet. And we can see Ball is still leading the championship, as was predicted last time out at Baku. But he's leading with a 13-point gap now. That point gap has decreased with 7 points. It was 20, now it's 13. Davy has made some inroads on him in second position. And then it's Jerry van Bussel still in P3. So the 1, 2, 3 not changing from last time out. Davy getting ever closer to the championship lead once again. Remember, last time out, last season, in Season 4, Davy won that championship. It would be an impressive feat to once again win the championship and win it back-to-back here in TFL. Yagizan, he's in 4th position. We are on board with the Ferrari right now. Yagizan 10 points behind Jerry van Bussel in P3 and 32 points behind the championship leader. Yagizan scored 12 points, a 4th position in Baku. And Yagizan is now starting his hot lap, coming on towards the main straight. And now braking for the Lassours hairpin just around the 75 meters. Hitting the apex nicely on the inside. Davy now alongside him. 2nd position in the championship. Now coming up through Orduge. And through Radion he goes on towards the Camel Straight. And expect the most overtakes in this race happening at this point. Yellow sector 3 because of cars slowing down to letting other cars through. Now braking for the Lecombe chicane. Yagizan and nicely finding his way through there. Now the next corner, Bruxelles, very easy to lock up on the entry. Yagizan seems to get through it pretty good. And now the no-name corner, left he goes, does not invalidate his lap time. And now down towards the fast left-hander. And just here the throttle is all full throttle through there. Now just a few more chicanes at the end of the track. And that is Sector 2 done. Sector 2 for Yagizan, 30.225. On the right hand side you see the local karting track of Spa-Francorchamps. Driving next to it now. Now through Blanchimont he goes. Remember Max Verstappen and Felipe Nasser in 2015. Going side by side through there, and then the overtake happening at the bus stop chicane as Yagizan moves his way through there now. Ono sets the fastest lap momentarily in the Haas, but Yagizan easily beats that lap by a second. So the Ferrari on top. Next car is a Mercedes, I think, coming over the line. It's the Mercedes of Davy. He starts his lap. Cameron is on his hot lap, Davy's teammate. So let's go on board with Cameron. Joey sets his best lap time so far, 1:55.905. I think he's driving in the wet conditions compared to the rest of the field. Braking for the bus stop chicane, Cameron. Nicely hitting those apexes. Once again, yellow sector 2. That is all because of cars slowing down to letting other cars through. Cameron with a 42.672. Let's go on board with Janssen in the Williams with the medium tires, 44.4. Around 2 seconds slower. The gap could be a lot smaller than it is at the moment. Sven is now starting his hot lap. Let's go off board with the Red Bull driver. Oh, look at that rear, just snapping away from him. Lix setting a lap time 2 minutes 1 second and 9/10 of a second. Probably wasn't his best lap, so he's going for it once again now. CRE Ender has left the session. He's in the pit lane in the Aston Martin. Some new drivers today with us here. And hopefully for him, he can find his way back to the session very fast. Henry, meanwhile, P2 with a 42.400. 1/10 slower than Yagizan is at the moment. Mercedes in P5, 43.6, more than a second slower than provisional P1 from Yagizan. So Yagizan setting a really good banker lap. Ender has joined now once again into the session. Oh, Sven, it looked on the limit, and it was over the limit for Sven. Hopefully he does not have any damage to his right rear tire. It looks like he's okay. Kaya, meanwhile, setting the second best lap time so far, 42.384, 8/100ths down on Yagizan. Lix on the medium tires, once again invalidating his lap, and now once again starting a lap. Lix's teammate Fruitful has also invalidated his lap, and our championship leader has done the same thing. Marco, meanwhile, Diera Marco in the McLaren on the softs. What can he do? Let's see what he can do after the second sector. 14.194. I think that is in line with Yagizan. Or at least I thought it was. So let's see what Marco can do on his hot lap. Lix nicely getting out of the way from Marco and the McLaren. Yagizan has left the session. Oh, Yagizan might have some problems with his internet connection, but he has left the session, and that is not good at all for Yagizan, as Marco sets the 4th fastest lap time, 42.617. So McLaren coming to the line now. It's Davey on the mediums. Oh, Davey was on the medium, so that explains why he's 1.3 seconds down. Joey in the pits. Damiano, 40.0, probably will go to a 42.4 or 5, and it's a 42.5. Crossing the line, and he is P4, pushes Marco down 1 position. And it's all about getting through into Q2. And for some guys, that is just a matter of putting a lap on the board. Like Lix, he still hasn't set a lap time so far. And as you can see, Lix using a rather unconventional line. That is the esports line, traveling the least amount of meters. Maybe it saves you about a few thousandths of a second, so not that useful in the long run. 15.1 for Lix, so this will go to a 43.456 maybe, or maybe even slower. It does not look good for Lix in the Haas. And he won't be slowest because his... no, it's not his teammate even. Lix I2 is in P11. Let's go P9 in front of Janssen and Joey on their outlaps as we are speaking. Ender has rejoined the session in the Aston Martin. Let's see what he can do. as Black Box goes into P7, puts himself safe for elimination with that lap time, I think. Yagizan has the time to rejoin the session, because he is probably safe from elimination as well. Ender does lock up going into Bruxelles, as you can see. And that might cost him some time. Into the no-name corner, does not invalidate his lap time, also uses that e-sport line momentarily going onto the grass through Blanchimont. Sorry. I'm totally forgetting the name of that corner. Let's search it up on the internet. Boom, of course. The fast left-hander is named Boom. While Ender is still finishing his hot lap, this is Blanchimont, the fast left-hander at the end of Sector 3. Through the bus stop chicane, Ender goes. And what can Ender do on his debut here in TFL in the Aston Martin? And it's a pretty good lap time from Ender, 42.5. Sets him P4 for Q1 momentarily, and that is a pretty good lap time. Black Box is now coming into the pit lane, I think. Davey, well, he is going for his soft run here. So let's go off board with the Mercedes. As the drivers in the elimination zone are Ball, or championship leader, Fruitful in P17. Then it's Sven and Frankie, but they still have to set their lap time. Davey on that long straight and into the Lassus happen, already gaining time, but he lost the rear at Les Comps, so he has to abandon that lap. And Fruitful immediately passes him on his out lap. Ball, meanwhile, is on the push lap. Let's go on board with the Ferrari. This time not invalidating his lap. 14.2. And I think this will go to 42.7, 42.8 possibly. And that will put him in P8, if I'm right. And then he does not need to butcher his bus stop chicane. It is 42.7, and that puts him P8 provisionally. Sven is on the hot lap as well. Sven went into P10, so he's safe now. Frankie, 13.9. This is going to be a pretty good lap time from Frankie, probably touching the top 3 or even entering that top 3. Let's see what Frankie goes. He goes P2. Good lap time from Frankie. Misses out on provisional P1. But he is in P2 in front of his teammate Kaya. Kaya was improving by 5/100ths. Not enough for a provisional P1. But he had invalidated his lap, I think, coming out of Sector 2. Fruitful now on his hot lap, still the only driver not having set the lap time, and it's a rare sight at the standings, P18 and P19, the final, the bottom positions here today. Both AlphaTauris. So AlphaTauri not going strong here as of yet, but I know that Fruitful can improve. As Lix lets everyone know that he is here. Good lap time from Lix. And I have to take back my words from just a few seconds ago, because suddenly it's an AlphaTauri 1 and 19. Because Lix went fastest there. 42.1. And that is a few 110th faster than Yagizan. So good lap time from the number 2 AlphaTauri. Frankie is not on a hot lap. Oh, almost spinning it. Nicely keeping that car under control. Lix 3 is on his out lap. Now I'm curious, can he do the same as the other Lix? Let's call it Lix 2 and Lix 3 for the viewers at home. Lix I3, Lix I2, let's call them Lix 2 and Lix 3. Daly is now finishing his hot lap. He sets 42.4 on the softs and now is well into the top 10. Ball going into the pit lane. And Ono is improving. I'm not sure if it's this is a hot lap once again. Looks like he's pushing, so I think this is a hot lap. But look at the conditions. It is getting pretty overcast here at Spa-Francorchamps. Of course, this circuit is known for the varying conditions. Fruitful, let's go on board with him because he hasn't set a lap time as of yet, and it is important for him to set a lap time as fast as possible before the conditions will deteriorate any further. And that was not the thing that Fruitful wanted to see, almost losing his car once again. And he does have enough fuel for another run, I think, and he is now saving up on that fuel to go for a final run here in Q1. And this is do or die for Fruitful because he's now in P19 behind Joey in the Alfa Romeo, and he's on his outlap now. Lix is pushing. Yes, he is pushing. Lix. Ender in the way though. Will he get out of the way? I hope he will for Lix. It's getting a little bit of a slipstream, and now Ender goes out of the way. What can the Haas do in the dying stages of Q1? Lix fastest, and Lix 3 is now almost finishing his hot lap. He misses the apex to the right hand side of the bus stop chicane. Now crossing the line, Lix 3 goes P15, so 9 tenths slower than Lix 2. He's in P15 and on the cusp of elimination. Jerry van Bussel though is improving and might knock Lix out of qualifying here in Q1 already. Janssen is also on the track, as is Joey, as is Fruitful. He has crossed the line and is now on his final hot lap. Jerry is improving by 3 tenths and he has invalidated his lap, so Jerry out of qualifying. P16 at best for the McLaren. Janssen is improving as well by a few hundredths, can still knock Lix out of qualifying. Joey still in his outlap. Fruitful a little bit further behind, almost losing his Williams once again. Janssen now crosses the line, does not invalidate his lap even. So Janssen hasn't invalidated his lap. He's 4 tenths faster than he was before. That's still not good enough for a spot in Q2. He needs to find 1 tenth of a second. As you saw, some rain out onto the track, so the conditions are definitely getting worse. And for Q2, we are expecting a wet session. Intermediates, wets, I think it will be intermediates. Janssen now crossing the line. He does improve. P13 has knocked Lix out of qualifying. Sven is also trying to improve. Can he improve here? Yes, he can. He goes fastest of all. 42.0 on the cusp of elimination. Now goes fastest of all. Fruitful is improving. No, he isn't. He has invalidated his lap once again. And he is out of qualifying. Slowest of all, Fruitful. In front of him is Joey. Joey, yeah, he's out of qualifying as well. And Black Box saved by the invalidation of Fruitful. The invalidation of Jerry. Joey almost losing his car. And Lix just wasn't quick enough here. But we are getting ready for a wet Q2 here. Is Marco still on the track? No, he is not. He's into the pit lane now. But the only driver not having set a lap time is the driver that is slowest of all. Can we say slowest because he hasn't even set a lap time? Don't know if you can say slowest. And you might have heard about the qualifying glitch that has happened a few times. That is a glitch. At the moment, a glitch is like a bug in the game, and the moment a driver disconnects from the session and rejoins back into the session, that might trigger all sort of bugs and glitches in that race. But luckily, uh, some of those bugs have been fixed by Codemasters, and that allowed Ender to rejoin the session. Sven is the fastest here in Q1 with Lix in P2. Then it's Yagizan in P3, P4 for Frankie, P5 for Kaya, Henry in P6, Davey in P7, Ender in P8, P9 is for Damiano, and P10 is for Marco. P11, Cameron, P12, Ball, a championship leader, P13 for Ono, P14, Jansen. On the cusp of elimination black box, but he is safely through into Q2, the gap 1/10 at the end. Lix 3 has been eliminated, as has Jerry van Bussel, Joey, and Fruitful. Thing about Jerry, a long-time leader here in Season 5 of the championship, he never qualifies that well, but in the races he's always there, always consistently picking up the points that he needs to put on a championship challenge. And it is still raining here. I don't know if the track looks that wet. I think it doesn't. And I think we will see the soft tires, yes, the soft tires and some medium tires on the cars. Oh no. Yeah, everyone is now going out of the pit lane. Let's look at the train of cars behind. Everyone coming out of the pit lane to just put on the tires and set a lap time as fast as possible, because I think this is the only opportunity they've got on these tires. Everyone out of the pit lane except for Ender. He's now coming out. Cameron, he's now out of the pit lane. Oh, also already lost his car. That was a great reset to track, I think. So we'll have to look into that. But Cameron once again back on the track. Hopefully for him he doesn't have wing damage. Oh, those mediums. Is that a good choice? As the conditions are getting worse and worse here. The drivers only have one chance to set a lap time. Ender has spun and he has lost his front wing. End plate on the right hand side. Look at the right hand side of the front wing. He has lost his end plate there. Spinning at the top of Radion. And that means he's most likely out of qualifying, because I don't think he is able on those mediums without a front wing end plate to set a competitive lap time here. So drivers are finding it difficult here to deal with the conditions. The leading driver at the moment is Jansen in the Williams, and by leading the field he has the best conditions here to set the lap time. That might allow him, solely based on the positioning and the timing, to set the fastest lap here in qualifying. The track is getting wetter all the time. You can now see the track getting wetter than it was before. Jansen hasn't gone into the pit lane, and so haven't all the cars behind. But I think, yeah, oh, the cars are having difficulty through Rouge and Rallion. And we might see some cars crashing out on this lap, on their hot laps, because of these conditions. And I think for Ender, this can pay off for him, or not, if these conditions are getting that bad in just a single lap for these drivers, that they are losing the cars all the time. The intermediates might be the fastest tire at the moment. Yagizan out of the box with the softs. He's out of the box pretty late. Oh no, he's not out of the box. He is on his hot lap. That was an out lap. displayed next to his name momentarily. DRS has been disabled, so that means the conditions are definitely not in the favor for the dry tires. And that might put Ender in the best position here. Or not. These tires might still be good enough for one more lap. Inters for Ender. Of course, Marco has spun off at Pouan. Let's go back to Janssen. Can he find his way through the bus-stop chicane? Oh, it's very slow for Janssen, but he had the best condition. Oh, Janssen almost losing his Williams. And it's provisional P1 for Janssen, 54.5. Instantly beaten by Henry. And that Ono immediately improves. Lix, Damiano now P1, 52. So that's 2 seconds faster than Janssen was. Davy now in P2. Well, I'm curious, are those Inters the faster tire at this point in time? So Damiano in P1, Sven in P2, Davy in P3, then it's Lix, Frankie, Borrell, Ono, Henry, Blackbox and Janssen, the top 10. The rest of the drivers haven't set a lap time so far. Yagizan coming out the pit lane on those softs once again. The softs aren't good enough at the moment, Yagizan, so you'll have to go back into the pit lane. Cameron now goes into the pit lane on those mediums. Yeah, the mediums definitely had no chance whatsoever. I think Ender, being the first driver on those Inters, if he... yeah, let's see. I can't predict what times he can do on those Inters now. The conditions are definitely getting worse. And I think Damiano is in P1 and will remain in P1. And that only changes if the Inters are working better in these conditions. And are working better than the softs just a few moments ago when everyone was on their hot lap. So pretty interesting time here for Ender. He's now starting his lap in the Aston Martin. Had a pretty good qualifying one after being disconnected from the session, rejoined and set the 5th or 6th fastest lap time. I can't remember exactly what his lap time was, but it was a few tenths off from provisional P1. And Ender actually traveling faster through Gardillon than Janssen did, but Janssen is 2 seconds off the pace anyway. It is fastest for Ender according to the minimap. Let's see if that is true. Damiano 31.6. Ender 31.9. That is definitely not far off, and the conditions only got worse from this point onward for the rest of the field. So this might still be the lap that will put Ender in P1. Pretty curious what will happen here. I think he has a good shot here at provisional P1. And he definitely has a chance of getting into the top 10 with some of these laps not good enough. Like Janssen, like Blackbox, they're not far apart. Ender 122 after the middle sector. And Ender, of course, broke his front wing in a few minutes ago. He broke his front wing, and might that be the thing that will save him now? Because he crosses the line. I think he'll go onto the front row. Well, it isn't the front row as of yet because it is Q2, but he sets a lap time good enough for P2 on the Inters. So the Inters were faster at the end there. And Kaya and Marco are trying an interlap for themselves now as well. So everyone in the pit lane is changing through those Inters, but conditions are only getting worse and worse. We'll have to keep that in mind. So Ender had the best of those inter conditions. Damiano made the best of it on those softs. Thing is, he'll have to start on those softs if he can't improve here in Q2. And that is the same for every driver who is in the top 10 right now, except for Ender, because he's qualifying on those inters, which means you have a free tire choice for the race. No other driver has that in the top 10. 122 as well for Kaya, so he is trying to go into the 152s like Ender did, like Damiano did before him. And only those two drivers are currently into the 152s. Kaya is now going to cross the line. On the inters, what can he do? Can he beat Ender? Can he improve on Damiano's lap time? He'll go P9. So the conditions not getting any better whatsoever. Ender is now coming into the pit lane. Yes, he is. Marco starting his lap. Cameron has invalidated his lap. Ono is on a hot lap as well. And is 5 tenths down on his previous bests. So he's not going to improve, most likely. Lix 2 is also not going to improve because he has invalidated his lap. So the moment Ender went into the pit lane to change his front wing was actually a miracle in disguise. Let's say it like that. Because he's now in P2 with a free choice of tire. And that's actually the best thing that you can have for the start of the race. What tires did everyone use for their best laps? Kaya. Yeah, Kaya also in the top 10 with the inters. So he also has a free choice of tires in Q for the race. And he's improving. Kaya is improving by 3 tenths. And he might still challenge for... still challenge for the fastest lap in this session, because Damiano, of course, lost a lot of time on those softs in this third sector. So that means Kaya can still win a lot here compared to Damiano. Let's go on board with Kaya. What can he do? Can he go onto the front row? No, he can't. He goes into P3. 1 tenth slower than Ender is. Marco is almost finishing his lap time. P15 now. Hasn't set the lap time so far. So can he improve and go into the top 10? Yes, he can by the slimest of margins. Into P10. 3 tenths faster than Henry, and Henry is out. Henry is in the pit lane. He has retired. Black Box is slower than he was before. So is Janssen. Yagizan coming into the pit lane. Cameron on his out lap. Ono is not improving. Ball is not improving. Frankie, I think he's going to improve here. Most definitely. Yes, he has improved by 1 tenth. Almost 1 tenth exactly. Then it's Kaya. No, it's not Kaya. It is Janssen. He's now starting his lap. And behind him, the Ferrari. Ferrari of Borrell. He's now starting his lap as well. Into the top 10, Borrell. Kaya with his P3 indicates that the track is still good enough to improve on those inters and to go even faster. 2 tenths now faster. Can he even improve on Damiano's time now? And he needs to find 2 tenths in this third sector. Might still be possible if he can nail the bus stop chicane. And at the moment, Henry is out. Definitely did not expect Henry to go out here in Q2, but there you have it. He's out of qualifying. Janssen in P13, slowest of any driver that has set a lap time, as Kaya now goes second fastest, a few 100ths of a second slower than Damiano. Black Box in P12. Yagizan and Cameron haven't set a lap time so far. Cameron now starting his lap. Yagizan on his out lap. Has been on the track a lot, but hasn't set a lap time so far. I think Damiano is, yeah, he's coming into the pit lane. No, he isn't. He's not going to improve here. He's starting another lap on those hinters. The McLaren of Marco is slowing down at the third sector, and that is, I think, Frankie passing him. Yes, Frankie is passing him, improving by almost 3 tenths. Might go P4 or P5 or even faster here. He goes P6, a little bit slower for Frankie. Black Box is still out on the track. Might knock Marco out of qualifying years. Marco is in the pits. He's not defending his P10. Black Box might knock Marco out of qualifying. Kaya has retired from the session. Why is he in P10? That is a very weird bug. That's yeah. I think that's a bug happening at the moment because Kaya is in P10. He should be in P2, no P3, because Burrell is now in P2, 52.604. Cameron has invalidated his lap, is out of qualifying. Yagizan is still out on the track. Anno has improved, 152.5. Yagizan crosses the line. And the session is bugging a little bit. There's a little bit of a glitch. Almost because of Kaya and Yagizan as Kaya. Cameron has crashed in the pit lane. Yagizan, I think he crossed the line there. Yeah, there's a little bit of a bug happening with the car of Yagizan because he set the lap time but it didn't register. Janssen still out on the track, isn't improving. Black Box, I think, is still going for a lap here. And by improving by 3 tenths, oh, the DRS has been enabled, so the track conditions are actually getting better. It has stopped raining here, and Black Box is improving by 2 tenths. So this bug for Kaya might knock him out of qualifying. That's a pretty weird thing to see here. And hopefully for him the game corrects itself if Black Box goes faster on this lap. I think he might because the conditions are improving so rapidly here. No, Black Box improves on his time but not on his position. And it is Anno fastest in qualifying too after a wet drying session. So mixed conditions here in Q2. And Anno on top in the Haas. Then it's Damiano, Burrell, Sven in P4, Lix, Ender. Then it's Frankie, Davy, Marco and Kaya in P10. Kaya should be in P4. Eliminated has been Henry, Black Box, Janssen, Yagizan, and Cameron. I think we're still waiting on Yagizan. His car might have been bugged. Because his car is still going here. Marco saying he's going through into Q3 with a real bad lap. Yeah, you have to be there in these conditions. And Marco did exactly that. I think the session will end in a few seconds. Looking at the top left hand corner. No, it is stuck on 1 second. This lobby has been strange for a few reasons. One, these conditions are not the typical conditions. And Yagizan still driving on the track. And now Yagizan has left the session. So I think there was a bit of a connection error. Kaya eliminated in P10. Well, that is pretty weird to see, actually. Hopefully for him the game corrects itself. But Kaya is eliminated. Let's see what we're going to do with that. The session might be restarted, or we'll go with it. As we are getting ready here for Q3, and I think these conditions might once again be dry. The pole position shootout here at Spa-Francorchamps. Oh yeah, Kaya is out. No idea what happened there. Well, we'll run with it, I suppose. But now it's time for Q3. There are talks of a possible restart. But we'll see what we'll do with that. I don't think that is happening for the time being. So, once again, dry conditions, and it is overcast still, but I think it is getting better. The sun is coming through the clouds, and we are seeing the sun through the clouds. So that means the track is getting faster once again, and we have similar conditions to Q1. A little bit over 10 minutes left in this session. Because of the length of this track, you don't want to be in the pit lane for too long. All drivers out except for Ender, Ball and Frankie. They are still in the pit lane. So 1/3 of the drivers still in the pit lane is now Frankie's now in the pit lane as well. In the Alpine, going through Rouge and Radion. Rouge actually named after the river that flows under that corner. So under the Rouge corner, there's actually a river called Rouge, and that is why it is called Rouge. The first driver to cross the line is Damiano, and he's already on his hot lap now. So let's go on board with the Alfa Romeo driver. A little bit of a faster lap than we've seen throughout Q2 because of the conditions. And I think because all drivers, except for Davey, I think, set their laps on inters now in Q2, they all have a free choice of tire for the race. But Davey has to start on the softs. I don't think I saw any other driver that qualified on the softs, but I might be wrong there. Damiano has a car in front of him. It's an Aston Martin, nicely getting out of the way, and there is Ender. Getting out of the way. Through Pougon he goes. He hit the curb there momentarily on his out lap. Nicely going around it on his hot lap. And this looks like a tight lap from Damiano up to this point. Okay, I butched it for him. I'm sorry, Damiano. It is not a good lap from him. He spun at the end of Sector 2, and he has to go for another run. The next driver on a hot lap is Marco. and he has invalidated his lap, so he's not on a hot lap anymore. Fastest in Q2, Ono will go for provisional pole, because he will be the first driver to set a competitive lap time here in Q3. 14.1 after the second sector, and that is purple, after I think Lix instantly beat him in the Alpha Tauri. Yes, he did, but he's also on a 14.1, so this will be close between Lix and Ono. Breaking for the bus stop chicane. Damiano sets the provisional pole time of 2 minutes and 2 seconds. That will instantly be beaten by Ono. It's a 42.6, and Lix, can he beat that? Yes, he can. He goes 1/10 faster than Ono did. Marco crosses the line to start another lap, and Sven goes P3, 44.0. Not a good lap from Sven, but he'll go for another lap now. Is Davy on a hot lap? Yes, he is. And let's go on board with the Mercedes. Haven't seen all too much of Davy in the results today. So might his biggest result be here in Q3? Yes, for now it will be. 42.2 provisional pole position for the Mercedes driver. 3 tenths faster than Lix is. Good lap time from Davy in the Mercedes. His results haven't been the best throughout Q1 and Q2, but in Q3, when it matters, he's there. Ender is the next driver to set a vetted lap time. And Ender has been pretty quick throughout this session. Has spun his car in Q2, but that actually was the best thing he could do, because that put him on the right tire in that qualifying session. Ender now crossing the line, and he's in P4. 42.656, a few 100s slower than Ono. Damiano is now going to cross the line. He had a 2-minute 2 before, and it's fastest here in Q3 for Damiano. 142.0 for the Alfa Romeo driver. Marco now crossing the line as well in just a few moments' time in the McLaren. He'll not go for pole position. It's a 42.6, goes P4. 100s faster than Ono is exactly. Frankie in the pit lane. Borrell on an invalidated lap. Damiano currently on pole position, provisional pole position. But can that remain? Can that be remain throughout this session? Or will anyone go faster than Damiano is at the moment? Davy is right behind him. 2 temps. Then it's a few more temps to Lix. Lix was fastest in Q1. No, sorry, second fastest in Q1. Was beaten at the end of the session by Sven, if I remember right. Sven is in P7 now. Hasn't set a competitive lap time so far. 44.0 is definitely not the best that Sven can do. So he'll go for another run in just a few moments' time. Marco will go into the pit lane in just a few moments' time, because his fuel is empty, and will traverse to the pit lane with a sensible 120 miles per hour. Let's see if we can put those settings on kilometers per hour, as all the drivers are now in the pit lane. And yes, we can. A sensible 165 kilometers per hour for Marco. Back to the pit lane, as Lix is already on his outlap. He wants to get on with it. 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the session. And Lynx wants to put on those new softs. First, to try to set his hot lap, his second hot lap, first of all drivers. Three minutes left on the clock now. Through Poonhan, Lix goes on his outlap, and the Ferrari of Borrell also on his outlap. Those guys are out pretty early, and might keep in their mind that if they invalidate their laps, they have another run that they can use right after that one, or the one that they are going into now. Lix is in P3, 5 tenths, almost 5 tenths, slower than Damiano. That was a good lap from Damiano. That puts him in P1 still. But I have the feeling that Lix did not show everything that he could do on that first run. So let's go on board with the AlphaTauri driver. 42.531 was his previous best lap. And the time to beat is a 42.091, a pretty good run through the La Suez hairpin, and now making his way through Eau Rouge and then through Radion he goes on towards the Camel Straight. In just a few moments time he can open his DRS to go even faster on this Camel Straight, up towards the 325 kilometers per hour. He goes on towards the La Suez, the Le Combe chicane, and exiting the Le Combe chicane. Fastest first sector for Lix according to the minimap, but I don't know if we can trust that one. A good run through Bruxelles, and then the no-name corner takes that pretty well. And on the left-hand side, Damiano, the driver that he has to beat, he's in P3 now. Can he improve by almost 5 tenths to go onto the front row, or even into pole position? Yellow flag sector 3, that is because of the Red Bull of Sven going slowly on that back straight. Lix is improving by 6 tenths. He'll be the first driver to go into the 141s here, and he is finding the pace. He is on the lap that will put him on pole position. If not any single driver behind can beat that lap. We have 30 seconds left in this session still, and that means some drivers still can cross the line to enter their hot lap, but this is provisional pole position for Lix, a 141.8, a good lap time, 2 tenths faster than Damiano was before, as he now makes his way into his hot lap. Let's go on board with Damiano, while still a few drivers are crossing the line to start their hot lap, and also to end their hot lap. I think Borrell in the Ferrari is going to cross the line now to finish his hot lap. Borrell, 47.7, wasn't his real hot lap, and now the flag has fallen, the checkered flag has fallen at the start finish line, and that means no driver can start their hot lap. So these are the final hot laps here in this qualifying session. Damiano was relegated down 1 position by Lix, but can he now find the pace to go back into provisional pole position? He needs to find a little bit over 2 tenths. We've seen Damiano has the pace to get that pole position. Sven will cross the line in just a few moments time to finish his hot lap. Let's keep an eye on the timings on the left hand side. Sven will cross the line, and Sven goes P3. Wasn't quick enough to go into the 41s, and Damiano is improved by almost 2 tenths. Can he find some more pace in this third sector here? Yellow flag because of an Alpine. I think that is the Alpine of Frankie, who has made a mistake. The AlphaTauri of Lix now into the pit lane. He can't improve. He has set his lap time at 141.8. Can Damiano improve and go into provisional pole? No, he can't. Misses out by 100th of a second. Then it's Davy in the Mercedes. What can he do? He sets a 141.8 for himself, but he invalidated his lap time, so it won't count. Marco now crossing the line. Where can Marco go? Marco goes P4, and behind him is Burrow, our championship leader. He goes into P6, and that is it for qualifying here. It is Lix on provisional pole. It is pole position for Lix, and Damiano is on P2, the front row. And a good lap from Ono, pretty much unnoticed, got him into P3, where Sven was just a few moments ago, but it is so close at the top of the timing sheets here. Yeah, 100th of a second here in P2, P3 for Ono, a little bit over, under 1/10 down from Lix. Marco in P4, then it's Sven, Borrell, Davy, Ender. Frankie hasn't set a lap time, so he starts P9. Kaya was supposed to be in the session, but he wasn't in the session because of a bug in the game, and he starts in P10. And now we are going to start the race here at Belgium. And what conditions do we have for the race? We have overcast conditions. And I'm curious if it will rain, because we've seen rain in qualifying. And according to the Discord, it isn't going to rain this session, but anything can happen in TFL. We've seen that quite a few times. And in 10 seconds, we will start the formation lap for the Belgium Grand Prix, where Lix will start from pole position, and it's Damiano alongside him. A good debut for Lix. Lix 2, because Lix 3 is in P16, was eliminated in Q1, wasn't his best start. And it's still after Q3. An AlphaTauri sandwich, Lix in P1, and then in P19 is Fruitful. All drivers having free choice of tires, so let's see what tire everyone is starting on. I think Davy, I'm certain Davy, qualified on the softs in Q2, so he had to start on the softs. Ender, he qualified on the inters, so he chose those softs. The rest of the field all chose their preferred tire. It looks like everyone prefers the medium tire, except for Ender, Henry, and Joey. Once again, Joey using the Ukrainian flag-inspired helmet in his Alfa Romeo. Also racing under the Ukrainian flag here today in solidarity with the Ukrainian people. And while Fruitful now exits Pouon, his teammate Lix is already on the back straight on his way to Blanchimont, making his way past the karting track. And leave in the comments down below, who do you think is going to win this Belgium Grand Prix? Lix has a pretty good chance of winning it, because he has the pace, but Damiano also has a lot of pace on the track, it seems. Let's go on board with Fruitful to look how long it will take before we will take off here. Fruitful slots into a grid position. We will start the Belgium Grand Prix. And Fruitful is into his grid position. That means we are going to start the Grand Prix in just a few moments time from Lix from pole position. And Damiano alongside him in the Alfa Romeo. And the lights are out and Lix gets a good start and Damiano gets a good start as well. But can't overtake his legs going into the hairpin. And Damiano is still in P2, but is side by side with Lix, coming through Rarion and Rouge, but still Damiano behind Lix. Davy making up some positions, and Davy! Oh, into the wall he goes! Is that damage for the Mercedes driver? It's a miracle, but I don't think there's any damage whatsoever for Davy. Wow, that was a start for the Mercedes driver. What has Ender done? Ender has also spun, I think. Yes, he has spun around at the Lecombe chicane here. And a lot of position changes. Oh, Kaya, Frankie, Henry. Oh, all sorts of drivers having spun around. Janssen has spun around in the Williams. That was a start. Wow. And Damiano and Lynx are side by side through Pouan. Wow. What a place to make an overtake, but Damiano has to stick behind for now. And also Sven and Marco going for a dive on Ono. He puts his car alongside Ono, but remains behind the Haas driver for now. Overtakes at rather unconventional places here in lap 1 and a massive crash at the Lecombe chicane. And a lot of drivers involved. Ender out already. He parked his car at the Pouan corner. And everyone in the top 12 on the medium tire. Big winner in that battle is Fruitful, making up 7 positions on that first lap. And Lix also gaining a lot of positions in the Haas. Lix can make a move on Jerry Verbussel. Jerry defending and not being able to make the move. Lix has to stick behind in P11. A lot of drivers now into the pit lane. I do think Davy had damage there. Yes, he is fixing his front wing. Did not look like he had damage from the off-board, but definitely has damage. As the entire 14 to 18 positions are into the pit lane. Oh no, losing his car. Can Marco benefit? Yes, he can at the Lecombe chicane. He can make an overtake, and that was a beauty by Marco. Ono making a mistake, and Marco benefiting from it. But the gap is now over 1 second, and that is crucial here, because that means Marco does not have the DRS coming into lap 3. Yellow flag once again. Has somebody spun around? No, I don't think someone has spun. That might still be from the car of Ender. And a bug in the game. Marco almost lost his car as well there. And struggling, these cars. Marco, Ono also struggling. Both of them. Joey in P13, just a few seconds behind Fruitful. Nicely keeping up for his pace. Damiano really close behind Lix now. Remember, lap 3, DRS will be enabled in just a few moments time, as Cameron and Blackbox are side by side. Blackbox lost out on the 7th position by Cameron, as Yagizan also goes for an outside move on Blackbox and makes the move work. Now let's go on board with Damiano, because Damiano will go for a move here on Lix. He's within 1.5 tenths of Lix. This will be the moment to pounce. And here we will see the first change of leadership in this race. Damiano into the lead of the Grand Prix. Oh, Lix almost losing his car again as well. Oh, Yagizan! What happened there? Yagizan in the Ferrari spun round. Marco, what happens to Marco? Marco, I think, also made a mistake. Action left, right, and center here, I have to say it. And it's difficult to keep up with everything. Marco making a mistake once again there. Does he have front wing damage? Let's look off on board with Borrell. And it does look like a bit of damage for Marco because he's losing a lot of time here. Cameron getting a 3-second time penalty in P8. Black Box made some moves back up field once again. Yagizan setting the fast lap of the Grand Prix. I'm wondering what's going on with Yagizan. Is it a bug or is it just the internet connection at the moment? Because Yagizan set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix in the middle of Sector 2, and that is definitely not possible. Cameron on the rear of Black Box once again. Trying to go for an outside move here at the bus stop chicane. Black Box nicely fattening him off. Oh no, now fastest lap of the Grand Prix, 145.7. Jerry also close behind Ball, championship leader. Now once again of the top 3 drivers scoring the most amount of points, because Davy is in P14, Jerry is in P9, so Ball will only extend his lead from here. Black Box getting a bad run out of Eau Rouge, and that makes it possible for Cameron to attack Black Box. Can Cameron make a move around the outside? He will go for that move around the outside. Is there room? Yes there is, but not enough. They've made contact and Cameron has spun around. Fruitful moves past him, as does Lix. Oh, Lix also has been spun around. Cameron onto the track once again. Oh, guys, a lot of mistakes happening here and a lot of action here at the Belgium Grand Prix. But one thing is for sure, still, the 1-2 is Damiano and Lix. Bussel close behind Black Box. Black Box making a mistake, and that might move Jerry Bussel ever closer to the rear of that Red Bull. Jerry is pushing his ERS. Black Box is not pushing the ERS. Can Jerry go for a move here at Blanchimon? Yes, he does. Even before Blanchimon moves his way past Black Box. Awesome move by Jerry. Can Black Box go for a move once again now? No, he can't, but he keeps in his mind that Jerry won't have the DRS. Black Box will have the DRS now. That might make an easy overtake on Jerry possible here. Black Box struggling, it seems, as well. Black Box struggling with this Red Bull. Joey has been overtaken by Cameron. Joey out of the points paying positions. And Henry closing up to Davey. Oh, Cameron and Joey. Did Cameron make a mistake there? Because Joey is suddenly right in front of him once again. Oh, Lix! Lix is coming through on the left-hand side as well. In the Haas. Oh, Cameron will go for a dive. And Lix gives him the space. But he shouldn't have done that, really. Because I didn't think that was Cameron's corner at all. Can he go for a move here at Bruxelles? He will go for a move here at Bruxelles, Lix! Oh, almost lost his Haas, but kept it well under control. That was not a move to go for. Both Cameron and Lix have done that. And this is entertaining racing for sure. Cameron coming right up on the rear of Joey here in the Alfa Romeo. Cameron might have gotten a track limit there. Oh, there's contact between Cameron and Joey. Cameron and Joe. Oh, his Lix also makes a mistake in the fellow Haas. And Cameron moved past there. Oh, Lix also once again spinning around. Oh, guys. Going for moves that aren't possible. Joey missed the apex slightly. Cameron went for the move. And because of Cameron going for that move, it means that Joey was spun around. Marco retires in the pit lane, and that is because he can't stay with us any longer. Unfortunately, he told us in the Discord just a few moments ago. Unfortunately, he has to leave us prematurely. Lix into the box now. I think he has damage from that incident. There is a bug with Marco in the McLaren. And Lick's coming into the pit lane. Had to wait a little bit there. Henry still real close to Davy. Can Henry make a move on the camel straight here? The gap at 6 tenths. Of course, Henry has the DRS. Davy does not have the DRS. Is Davy going to push a little bit of his ERS to defend from the Williams? Williams is gaining massively here on this camel straight. Even after the pit stops, they will be in P10 and P11, I think. And it does not look good at all for Davy and Henry, especially for Davy's championship challenge here. Licks lost a little bit of time to Damiano. I think he made a mistake somewhere. But that first lap, I still can't believe what happened on that first lap. Like 4 or 5 cars at Lecombe crashing all at once as Cameron has retired. Coming out of sector 2, Cameron crashed into the wall. Yellow sector 3. Is that a safety car? Yes or no? I don't think it is, because it should have been here already if it were a safety car. Licks losing out on that DRS from Damiano. Means he's now under threat from Onno and Sven behind. Henry has also left it. Has he crashed at the exact same position as Cameron? I think he has. Still no safety car though. I don't know how that's possible, because that should have been 2 safety cars, frankly. Licks meanwhile gaining and gaining on Damiano. He should do that. Because that will be vital for his race. But it doesn't help if you have those little bit of oversteer moments. There are similar levels of ERS. Licks now pushing a little bit more than Damiano to get within that DRS range. And he almost is within the DRS range. The gap needs to be under 1 second. Licks is losing a little bit of time in that middle sector. Yellow sector 2, that is still because of that bug, I think, from one of the retired cars earlier in this race. Yagizan, I don't know what's happening to his internet at the moment, because he's in P18 and it doesn't look good for the Turkish driver. Joey still within the points paying positions. Kaya, Frankie, Licks, Frey, Janssen all having a miserable race after that incident in the first lap. Not getting better from here on out. Licks once again not having the DRS. But Onno has the DRS and Sven does have the DRS. And Ball as well, so it's a big train. And no driver making a move here at the camel straight. Licks still trying to get within that DRS range. We are on lap 8 of 22. Long laps here around Spa-Francorchamps. The AI of Yagizan actually getting past Fruitful, or is it just lapped car? Yagizan should let Fruitful go. If he has overspeed, this is allowed. But if Yagizan can drive away from Fruitful, this is not in accordance with the regulations. The Turkish drivers should let Fruitful go, because Yagizan has been lapped already. Fruitful 7.5 temps behind a black box. And now the gap between Onno and Licks also at 1 second. Oh, Onno! No, Onno has been spun around! And is he DNFing from this race? No, he isn't. Does he have damage to his Haas? He's in the distance there. Oh, Onno making a mistake. And a lot of people making mistakes here. The track conditions catching people off guard here. And people are finding it difficult to keep their cars on the track. The Haas does not appear to have any damage. And that would be a god blessing if he doesn't have any damage. Yeah, he'll go into the pit lane. I think he does have a little bit of damage. Should at least change to a different compound. I think he'll change to the hard compounds now. Who has even DNF'd from the race. Oh no, has even DNF'd here in the pit lane. Lynx now within 1 second of Damiano, using the DRS to catch up, but at what cost? He doesn't have any ERS left whatsoever, but Damiano doesn't have any ERS left as well, crucially. 7 tenths the gap. Sven in P4, and talking about Jerry having good race pace, he's in P5 once again, after starting in P16, I think. Let's look at the positions gained in this race. 12 positions by Jerry, as well as Fruitful, 12 positions. So good race pace from those guys. Keeping out of trouble, mostly. Keeping out of trouble has been the key to having a good race here today. And our top 7 has done that. I think Joey has done that as well, but he doesn't have the pace to keep up with the other guys. Still on for a points being result here, if he can keep this up. And he'll be happy with that. Most definitely. Sven close to Boggle. And Kaya getting up, picking up a 3-second time penalty. Sven is now in the DRS and using the DRS to getting ever closer to the Ferrari of our championship leader. He's using the ERS. How much ERS does Boggle have? Boggle does have over 50%. And Sven has less ERS to use and attack Boggle with. Then Boggle has ERS to defend with. Kaya makes a mistake, has DNF'd. What has happened to the Alpine driver? Also crashing out at the end of Sector 2. That has been the corner to watch out for, as Lix picks up a 3-second time penalty. Lix 3, mind you. He's in P10. Joey going into the pit lane to change for a set of medium tires. And he's coming out in front of Frankie, I think, here. Yes, Joey coming out in front of Frankie. As Lix tries to go for a move on Frankie, can't make that move work. Kaya has left the session because he has DNF from the race. Joey even into the points being positions here now. Davey into the points being positions. In P8. Lix moving past Frankie in P11. Ono has retired from the session. P14 has DNF'd already and is now out of the session as well. Davey has a massive gap to catch up on. To catch up to Fruitful. I don't think he can do that. Even if Fruitful has to make a pit stop, the pit lane is not that long that Davey has any chance of overtaking Fruitful here. There has to be a safety car for all the drivers behind to catch up to the leading group of cars. The gap of 1.4 between Ball and Lix. Lix 3 here in P10 is now at the rear of the Alfa Romeo of Joey. Can Joey defend here on his new mediums from an attack of Lix? Lix will have the DRS to use on this main straight and the camel straight. Joey is looking pretty pacey on those new mediums, but can Lix overtake Joey here? Frankie's also really close to the pair of them, so might Frankie be able to make a double overtake? He's on the fresh softs. Joey is now using no ERS and knows that he will be overtaken. He could have fought the pair of them, but he lets them through to just drive his own race. And that might be the best thing for Joey to do, because otherwise he would have lost a lot of time in defending. Fruitful 4 tenths of a second behind Black Box. He's gaining massively on Black Box. 3 temps now. And might be able to go for a move here on the main straight or the camel straight. The gap at 3 temps still. Black Box knows that there is a big chance that Fruitful might be able to go for a move here on those on the camel straight. 92% of battery left for Fruitful. Has been saving up battery a lot in the race and will go here for a move on Black Box. Was P2 in the championship last season, now will be relegated down to P7 by Fruitful. He makes a move on the Red Bull driver and Black Box relegated down to P7. Joey is on the rear of Frankie. Frankie's tires I don't think are the best anymore. Frankie outbrakes himself. He'll go into the pit lane. Yes, Frankie's tires are, let's look at the tires, 8 lap soft, 8 lap softs. Yeah, those won't go until the end of the race. Janssen still has the pit for new tires as well, because those old soft won't make it until the end of the race. Ender has left the session. And Borrell has caught up to the leading pair here. So he's now in contention for the win. Oh, Licks! Licks has thrown it all away as well at the end of the second sector. His front wing is off. Oh, and he throws away a chance of a victory here in his debut race. Has taken pole position, but now is out of contention for the race win. And I can't believe the amount of mistakes that have been made here in that third sector. I find that quite baffling, frankly. Fruitful now on the rear of Jerry van Bussel, trying to go for the move that will giving P3. Jerry is P3 at the moment in the championship standings, but will be relegated down to P4 on the road. If Fruitful can make this move work, he's using the ERS, he's using the DRS. Jerry is defending with his ERS, but no chance whatsoever for the McLaren, and Fruitful moves his way up into P3. Good move by Fruitful, he's on a charge here. Firstly, making his way past Black Box one lap ago, and now getting past Jerry as well. Sven now gets a 3-second time penalty. Crosses the white line at the no-name corner. Borrell is in the lead of the race, our championship leader, leading the field away. Licks has made his pit stop for the softs. Licks 2, mind you, has made his pit stop for the softs after replacing his front wing as well. Can he take anything out of this race? Damiano in P6 on the softs will gain massively now. And he has actually set the fastest first sector here. What will the other drivers do? Borrell will continue on. Sven will go into the pit lane to defend from Damiano. I think Damiano will move up into, well, in front of Sven anyway. Fruitful in the pit lane as well. Jerry van Bussel now into P2. He came from P17, not even 16, P17, makes up 15 positions. Fruitful after the pit stop makes up 13 positions still. That's an amazing job by Fruitful and Jerry. Sven out of the pit lane. Fruitful now moving out of the pit lane, both on fresh softs. Damiano was on those fresh softs. We'll have one lap older tires in the end, which could make all the difference. Yagizan's still in this race. I don't know if he's driving or if it's an AI who's driving. It looks like Yagizan is driving himself. If he can drive away from Black Box, this is no problem whatsoever. And if he can't drive away, this will hinder the drivers, which is not in accordance with their regulations. But I think Yagizan has the pace to drive away if he's driving himself. Licks picking up a penalty at Lecombe for track limits. And this race has gone from good to bad to even worse with that time penalty. Is behind his teammate. After starting in pole position, his teammate down in last position. He's now behind his teammate after the pit stops because of his mistake. Damiano is now catching up to Black Box. Black Box hasn't made a pit stop yet. Now we'll go into the pit lane. Jerry will go into the pit lane as well. So that leaves the ball in P1 and Damiano now in P2. Damiano with the fastest lap of the race as well. I'm curious if those tires will last until the end of the race, the tires from Damiano, or if his tires will be absolutely dead at the end, because we saw Janssen. Has Janssen pit already? Yes, he has. Janssen pit and another driver pit for, yeah, that was Frankie, pit for new mediums around 8 laps. Damiano's tires will be a lot older in the end of the race. He's catching up to Yagizan. Yagizan in the Ferrari. He will be faster than Yagizan because he's on the fresh. Damiano is on the fresh softs. He of course will catch up to Yagizan. Blue flags being waved for the Ferrari driver. Hopefully for Damiano. Yagizan will move out of the way pretty fast. Lix is catching up to Black Box here. Black Box has made a pit stop now. So this is all for position after the mistake by Lix. He has caught up to Black Box. Black Box making a mistake, and that suddenly puts Lix within a few tenths of the Red Bull driver. Lix putting on massive pressure on the Red Bull. And now ball into the pit lane for his soft tires. And I think he'll come out in between Sven and Fruitful, most likely. Sven now moving past Ball, who's currently still in pit lane. Yeah, Fruitful definitely coming out behind Ball. Lix is putting pressure on Black Box still, and I think he'll go for a move here on the Camel Straight. Still a yellow flag in the second sector for a few laps now. And that is because of a bug in the game if you've just tuned in, so nothing to worry about. A lot of their drivers have DNF'd from the race because of incidents and mistakes, namely at the end of the third sector. Lix now, one of those drivers who made a mistake at the end of the third sector is moving his way past Black Box after pitting for a new front wing, both having made their pit stops. Leading the field away, Damiano still. Let's look at the tires, because that will play a crucial part in this race. Damiano has the oldest tires, 2 laps old, soft tires. Yeah. Sven behind 1 lap old softs. Ball 0 lap old softs just came out of the pit lane and says the fastest middle sector now. I don't think Damiano will get into puncture territory, but definitely will lose a lot of time in the dying stages of the race. But will he lose 4.5 seconds? That remains the question. Sven is gaining on him though now. 4.4 seconds, but it's the slenderest of margin. Currently, the only battle going on here is Lix versus Black Box. As Lix sets the fastest lap of the race, Black Box is in the pit lane. Momentarily saw his Ferrari teleporting onto the track. Now coming out of pit lane. I have no idea. As Black Box, did he hit the wall there? I think he hit the wall. Hopefully for him that won't give him any damage. But I have no idea what Yagizan is doing here and what is happening to his internet connection. But we'll go with it. Still Joey in the points being positioned. He'll be very happy about that, but then we have a charging Frankie behind. Joey is losing time all the time here. Black Box has gained some time now once again on Licks, but that is just because of the DRS, as both Ball and Fruitful picked up time penalties there. And that isn't good at all for their end results. If the gaps will be smaller than 3 seconds by the end of the race, compared to a driver who isn't well, I just had to process what was happening, because suddenly Yagizan is in P8. As we said, I have no idea what's happening here as Licks now. What has happened to Licks? He's very slow on the track. Does he maybe have damage? Does he go into the pit lane? No, he won't. He'll try to go for a fastest lap, I think, here. I have no idea what is happening here. Okay, Yagizan is suddenly back into the session. 1/10 the gap between Black Box and Yagizan. And this would be an easy move for the Turkish driver. Ball with his fresh tires now on the rear of Sven as well. So the other Ferrari is going for a move on the Red Bull here. Thing is, Damiano doesn't have a time penalty, even if Ball catches up to Damiano in the end. Yeah, Damiano has to lose 3 more seconds to Ball, and I don't see that happening all too soon. So yeah, I think this victory is within the grasp of Damiano. And you can just see Ball far more confidence here throughout this section. Sven also not having enough ERS to defend with. And he might even make a move here into the bus stop chicane. Will Ball go for the move in the bus stop chicane? No, he won't. He momentarily lifted of the power, hit the Red Bull of Sven in the rear. But Sven has no chance whatsoever if Ball decides to go for a move here on the Camel Straight, because of the ERS situation. So this is a legitimate battle for P2, taking into account the time penalties. Joey has been relegated down to P11 by Frankie, as Yagizan went back into the session. Yagizan was 17 lap old, medium tires, and there is a move by Bubble. Not a surprise that he made that move with those fresh softs. He's now gaining massively on Damiano. So he's trying to go for that victory on the road. Won't be a victory with time penalties applied. But he is gaining massively on Damiano. Damiano is 3 lap older softs, and you can definitely see the difference in that. Lix has boxed in the Haas for new softs, and that suddenly puts Joey back into the points paying positions. Luke still in P12 in the Williams. And Joey picks up a time penalty, I think. I don't think he had that penalty before. But yeah, Ball 3.3 now. He gained 5 temps in just a few corners time. So definitely Ball catching up massively, our championship leader, to Damiano in front. Does that choice of pitting later benefit Ball that much that he might be able to go for a move here? I don't think he's able to drive away 3 seconds. And that only will be possible. It will only be possible if Damiano gets a puncture or something. No other possibility, I think. 2.8 seconds. He gains even more time on Damiano through the lassos happen. Few tenths of a second where you can win. And he takes those temps in every corner that he can find. Lix 2 also has boxed. Yagizan now, once again relegated down to P12. Lix 2 has retired from the race. Lix 2 has retired. Don't know what happened to him, but he has retired from the session and is out of the Grand Prix. Yagizan is back into P6. Yagizan with 19 lap old mediums might be getting a puncture if those mediums won't hold on. Ball now 2.0 away from Damiano. Damiano is using his ERS to extend the gap. And ERS levels of Borrell at 20% now. The provisional podium, Damiano, Borrell, Sven. But things might still change when we get to the battle for the lead in just a few moments time, because I do think Borrell will gain more time in these dying stages. Frankie picks up a 3-second time penalty. Doesn't make any difference whatsoever. Lix 3 now gaining on Joey on those fresh softs. Will try to go for the fastest lap of the race. I think he almost gained 1 second in just 2-3 corners there. That's the difference of the softs, the fresh softs, compared to the 9 lap old medium tires. Has to find his way past Joey on his fast hot lap, and I think he'll do that. Yes, easily overtakes Joey here on the back straight. .9 seconds the gap now for the lead of the race. 1.8 seconds, and he's gaining and gaining even more through this second segment. The older tires from Damiano really playing a part in this. 1.6 seconds. Lix 3 now sets the fastest lap of the race, 1:43.0, I think, after putting on those fresh softs. It is absolutely crucial for Borrell to now get within the DRS range of Damiano to try to go for a move on the Camel Straight. Damiano is using his ERS though, and is extending his gap here at the third sector. 1.7 the gap, only because of the usage of the ERS. Borrell immediately regains that time, and only the bus stop chicane. And it's the final lap now. Jerry van Bussel and Yagizan are also battling. Yagizan made the move going into the bus stop chicane. Who has moves his way up into P5, Yagizan. Lix picks up a 3-second time penalty. 1.5 the gap for the lead. This victory, if nothing goes wrong for Damiano, will go to him. No opportunity for a DRS overtake left in this lap, and it is the final lap of the race. Still 1.3. Oh, is that a mistake? Yeah, even Bussel and Yagizan were battling. On my screen, Jerry is in P5 and Yagizan is in P6. Jerry and Yagizan making a move through Brussels. And nicely getting past once again, Yagizan into P5. Lix makes a mistake on the main straight and is now in P10. Oh, has completely ruined his race here. And is in P11 as Yagizan is in P5. The battle for the lead of the race won't change anymore. It is Damiano who is going to win on old lap old softs compared to 5 lap old soft tires for Borrell. It is the victory for Damiano, and it is victory for Alfa Romeo in Formula 1 TFL. Damiano wins here in Belgium with Borrell in P2. Sven will cross the line now for P3 with Fruitful in P4. Yagizan, a little bit of a buggy race from him, but he is in P5 with Jerry van Bussel in P5. immediately because of a bug once again, I think. We'll have to see the standings after the race. Black Box will cross the line now, and he finishes in P6. Frankie is exiting that second sector now in the Alpine. And he'll finish P8. P9 will be for Joey, and P10 will be for Janssen in the Williams. Because Lix has retired right at the very end of the race. And now we'll only have to wait for the results. Yagizan, well, his car moved up into P11. Again. As we said, we'll look into the results after the race. Especially with Yagizan here. Joey crosses the line for P8. Career best finish from him with Frankie behind in P9. Sorry, Janssen behind in P9. Fruitful driver of the day, of course, coming from last position to P4. Great race by him. And let's invite Damiano into the session. Let's talk a little bit with our race winner. And he has been invited into the session to be interviewed about his results. I think it was a really exciting battle with Lix, up to the point where Lix spun and it was all thrown away by him. And Damiano took that victory by a mile in the end with Borrell's time penalty. More than 3 seconds the gap to the Ferrari driver for our race winner, as he has joined. The voice said, Damiano, congratulations on your victory. Did your race win ever look in doubt at the end of the race, because Borrell was gaining massively on you? What was going through your mind at the end of the race? And Damiano isn't responding right now.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, Damiano is here. Welcome, Damiano. Congratulations on your race victory. The moment where Borrell in the end of the race gained massively on you, what was going through your mind? Did you think you were going to give away that victory?
No. I was just waiting and waiting, and it worked perfectly, the strategy.
Yeah, because you had very old softs in the end of the race. Borrell did have that time penalty, so I do think that helped in securing your victory.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that helped definitely in securing your victory, I think. But the battle happening in the beginning of the race with Lix, yeah, he did take pole position. You overtook him on track. And from there on out, you kept him within 1 second, but he crashed. What was the pressure Lix was giving on you in the beginning of the race? Because he was very fast.
Yeah, he was very quick. He was really quick on the straight, because I had a different setup for downforce, and I was pushing to get him out of the DRS, but yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah, so Lix made a mistake coming out of Sector 3. A lot of guys today making a mistake coming out of Sector 3. It was quite baffling, to be honest with you, how many guys made a mistake at the end of Sector 3. But you kept it all clean. You won the Belgium Grand Prix. Congratulations once again. For everyone at home, we are ending the stream here, and hopefully you'll join us next week once again for round 10 of TFL Season 5. See you next